Political parties intensify activities towards the governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states later in the year. As Labour Party holds its national convention during the week, but there are some questions still to be answered. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, unveiled its 2024 to 2028 action plan, which it says will entrench democratic practices within parties. Also on Political Update today, we will examine the concept of politics and governance. Where should one start and the other end? We have a discussion of these and more with a guest from beyond our shores. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. The registered political parties under the umbrella of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, say they now have an action plan to cover their goals and aspirations in terms of citizen engagement and internal party democracy. The plan contains actions to be taken to ensure the growth of the nation's democracy.
Unveiling of the Inter-Party Advisory Council's 4-year action plan, supported by the Westminster Foundation for Democracy under the Nigeria Open Political Party Project. Chairman of IPAC, Yusuf Mamandantale, said the plan will have a spiral effect in the nation's democratic space.
With the lessons of the 2023 general election, supplementary polls, off-cycle, governorship elections and by-elections, Nigeria demand and deserve free, fair, credible, transparent, inclusive and peaceful elections in Edo and Ondo State gubernatorial elections.
Much of the challenges we face during the election is rooted from the mistakes or the mischief that was done in the party primaries or within the party machinery.
The task of deepening, consolidating and growing our democracy is the collective responsibility of all Nigerians.
The Commission welcomes robust proposals on matters related to continuous improvement in the processes and procedures of election management and administration in Nigeria.
National Commissioner on Voter Education was represented in that clip. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is restating its commitment towards making the November governorship election in Ondo State more inclusive with the provision of assisted devices for persons living with disabilities. And INEC gave the indication during the technical session on the implementation of the inclusive tools in Akure, Ondo State.
Research shows that persons with disabilities constitute a considerable percentage of voters in Nigeria, and the 1,288 of them in Ondo State make significant impact in the electioneering process. Hence, the need to discuss, re-strategize, and facilitate their full participation by ensuring that their challenges are minimized. INEC National Commissioner represented said that Section 54 of the Electoral Act 2022 empowers the Commission to take reasonable steps in ensuring that people with disabilities, special needs, and other vulnerable persons are given support at the polling units by the provision of assistive devices. As a result, the Commission, in line with the Electoral Act, will provide assistive devices such as magnifying glasses, enlarged posters, and braille ballot guide at polling units where the PWDs are identified.
The Commission in the state promises to foster respect for the rights and dignity of PWDs, discourage stereotypes, prejudices, and harmful practices in relating to PWDs in the forthcoming and subsequent elections in the state.
Brave voters, this thing, but we have not seen it before. But thank God we have seen it today and we have know how to use it.
This is the avenue to pour out our mind to say what we need, then what we didn't need for the election.
The national leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has inaugurated a committee made up of 6 governors from the different geopolitical zones to drive the process of widening the party's support base and increase membership.
The coordinating governors are that of Cross River, Imo, Kaduna, Kwara, Lagos, and Yobe states, with terms of reference to initiate, implement, and drive an agenda that will promote good governance and inclusive participation in all party affairs. And the national chairman of APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, says the party will ensure it makes its offices nationwide viable in all season and put its image in the limelight of attracting more membership, leveraging on its progressive institute to drive the process.
We need to educate our members. We need to have our own political party must have an identity, because we must know where we are heading to. That is why it is easy for politicians to cross from one party to another, blah, blah, something like that, because they lack identity.
We are not going to mobilize our people only to participate in party activities. The government of Federal Republic of Nigeria belongs to the party. Our members should also populate the government. And our members should also participate actively in the affairs, implementations of the various policies of the government.
Now to our discussion for today. Experts say driving development while maintaining political relevance and vibrancy is a balancing act of politics and good governance. Too little of one or too much of the other could lead to poor results. President, Public Policy Advocacy Research Council, Dr. Nameka Umera, joins us today from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Sayo.
Yes, I really love your suit, but let me quickly go to this before we talk about that. What are the indicators? You've been watching us from far, but what are the indicators when you are rating governance?
Thank you so much for that question. Yes, the indicators I use to rate governance are most important is how safe are the governed, how well protected are the underserved, and how free are people are being investigated. So those are the three main indices. You know, the fourth one you can add is social safety network that is available.
All right, let's look at, from your own experiences. You have been watching for us from afar. How would you describe, for instance, the current administration just about less than a year in, about 10 months in, and the sweeping reforms that it has undertaken, talking about the current administration, and perhaps what are the interventions you would want to add to it so that we get society on an even keel?
Very good question, Sayo. In the past 10 months, if that's the question, right? How do I rate the government of Parliament? I will give him an A minus. Now, I forgot the second part of it.
I said, well, if you were to make interventions in terms of the sweeping reforms, what are the low-hanging fruits, and what would be perhaps things you want them to also put on board to make sure that, the social contract between the governing and the governed, brings society on an even keel?
Okay, so let me start by some of the policies that are working now. Number one, quite frankly, is the removal of. I know it's causing a lot of hardship on people now, but I can tell you that every government, his predecessors, everybody has been talking about doing this well subsidy. It's costing Nigeria too much. Okay, so I applaud him for his boldness for doing that. Now, he has done a lot of other things that are very good. For instance, he has cleared the backlog of forex agreements to airlines. He started refinancing of our existing bond obligations, creation of infrastructures. You can really tell that he has a core. He knows what the problems are, and he's fearless to tackle them. Recently, for instance, the creation of the PECC, which is led by him and the presidential task force, is sending a message that it takes the economy very seriously. And already some of the things we're beginning to see, just in a matter of 6 weeks, we're beginning to see the Naira gaining grounds, like seriously gaining serious grounds against the dollar. If you think about it, just about 6 weeks ago, it was about 1950. Now we're in the 1200s, and it's projected to go even lower. So those are the things, and he's also started to diversify our economy. If you remember back in the days, Nigeria had a very diverse economy. We were into especially crops and manufacturing. I'll give you an example. Dubai, which is in UAE. So the country of United Arab Emirates, when it was founded in 1971, had their oil revenue contribution to their GDP at 90%. Meaning only 10% of their GDP is from non-oil revenue. Dubai today, up to almost 80% of their gross domestic product are from non-oil revenue. Oil now contributes just about 15%. So, and I'm seeing the moves the president of Nigeria is making to diversify, and they're beginning to bring up mining again and so on and so on. Because now, if you observe the trend where the world is going, oil dependency is beginning to take a backseat. You know, more and more countries are beginning to find ways to be less dependent on oil. So if we diversify our forms of foreign exchange, the country will be much better. And that's what I see presently.
All right, let me, I must have to ask you, we keep on rubbing minds with you guys, Nigerians in the diaspora. You are contributing so much to the economies of other countries. Perhaps you would want to also perhaps be a part of what is happening in Nigeria, perhaps maybe, in whatever fields. I know you have a background in medicine, and all that. But is that umbilical cord with your fatherland still strong?
Very, very strong. And I was almost about to correct you where you said that I was observing from far. Trust me, I live in America, but my mind is in Nigeria. I love that country so much. I've been gone for almost 40 years, but I'm still deeply rooted in my culture, in my country. I contribute as much as I can. For instance, among other things, the one that is very close and dear to me, my orphanage in the south. Literally every Sunday, I talk to those kids that brings joy to my life. And I'm blessed because I'm able to provide to them what they otherwise. They have a very beautiful roof over their head. They're very well clothed and so on and so on. Yeah, so I am very, very deeply involved in Nigeria, very much so.
Like people will say, don't go too far, so that you keep on seeing you, across this sign. But beyond that, we've been talking about politics and governance. One would also want, just like we've seen in, other climes where we have a critical mass of, skilled, Nigerians abroad coming back to be a part of, the process of rebuilding and resuscitating key sectors of the economy. Would you like to do that in the nearest future?
Absolutely, absolutely. I can tell you, for instance, this is part of what was so wrong with our government back in the days. In 2017, I had applied to get a medical license to come to Nigeria. 2017, that application is still, I still don't have a license to participate in Nigeria. Compare and contrast that to countries like, for instance, by UAE. Took them 1 week to give their license to come and do something in Dubai. 1 week. So how can, and I'm not alone in this. There's a lot of other people that I have a lot of friends that are Nigerians that are expressing the same concerns. Too much bureaucracy and, too many people wanting to be bribed before they can get a job and so on and so forth. And this is one of the reasons I am so much into what current president is sending the right signals all over the place. You know, you can take, for instance, how fast and swift he reacted when this better thing. You know, so those are the kinds of things that people like to see, and the kind of signals he's also sending to all these kidnappers. For instance, he has made it clear that kidnapping is going to be viewed as terrorism. What that means is that the consequence of kidnapping might actually result in capital death punishment. So those are all the strong things that we're seeing from overseas and are making people more comfortable and ready to come home. Yeah.
All right, let me just pause that so that you can take a drink of water. We'll take a few stories. We'll be back for the closing line. Let's just take a few stories from the political scene. Julius Abure has been re-elected as the national chairman of the Labour Party in the course of the week. This was at the 2024 National Convention held in Nnewi, Anambra State.
The Labour Party National Convention commenced with the accreditation of 387 delegates from across the country who came to elect new national officers to pilot the affairs of the party. Declaring it open, Chairman of the Convention and Deputy Governor of Abia State, Ikechukwu Emeto, commended all the party delegates, promising to have a transparent electoral process.
We are not distracted as a party. The Labour Party is together. There is no problem that we are having in the party.
Having dissolved the National Working Committee members, delegates unanimously affirmed the re-election of Julius Abure as the national chairman of the party alongside other national officers.
By the powers bestowed upon me as the chairman of this very convention, I hereby declare by Mr. Julius Abure.
The national chairman, in his acceptance speech, promised to reciprocate the trust and confidence reposed in them for the growth of the party.
I assure you that we will never compromise the ideology, the integrity, and the dignity of the party.
A communique was read with recommendations in the next general elections. The party says it is optimistic that it will produce more governors, National Assembly members, and others in subsequent elections.
Now, the leadership of the People's Democratic Party says it is concerned about the need to reposition the party and begin early preparations ahead of the 2027 general elections. The PDP National Working Committee met with state chairman of the party in this direction at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja.
It was a closed-door meeting that later opened to convey resolutions to the media. The party's acting national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damagum, disclosed that the interactive meeting was called towards finding strategic solutions to party's challenges. National Organizing Secretary Umar Bature emphasized the need to review the party's leadership positions at ward, local government and state levels nationwide, and also deal with issues of members involving in anti-party activities.
Our letter of agitations were coming from party members suspended. But you are the one who are in charge of those states. So you tell us who did anti-party, who did anti-party, who did this, who did that. Based on those reports, we are a member of NEC, decisions can be taken.
The party is to soon review the tenure of 26 states working committee, beginning from the ward, local government and state, following the expiration or soon to expire of their tenure of office.
The resolution is that we should all go back and make sure that our respective state chapters of the party are working.
Meanwhile, the National Working Committee of the PDP has continued to engage with the Ondo State stakeholders towards the conduct of a hitch-free governorship primary election.
So we have contributed immensely to building this party. It is time for the party to look at us.
The party promised to be neutral and fair to all concerned.
Members of the National Youth Council of Nigeria say they have acknowledged the proactive reforms initiated by President Tinubu's administration to revitalize the nation's socio-economic landscape. The council, however, says more measures are required to cushion the effect of some of the bold reforms.
It will not just be a policy that we are not going to benefit. Two things it will happen. It will benefit our citizens that are going to work under these expatriates. They will impact them with the knowledge they have come with from their various countries. And secondly, it will also make the vendor, that is the business empire, to look inward to search for our local who are competent in that direction. We are asking the president not to stop here in this expatriate. We are also calling him to direct all our infrastructure companies in this country, Nigeria, to use our local production. Our local production to enhance our growth.
All right, just before we go, let's go back to our guest in Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Naimeka Omera has been speaking with us on a number of things. And let's just, feel the pulse from the United States. Shortly, you go to the polls as well in the U.S. Of course, we know the two leading candidates from the two parties and all that. And of course, last year we had ours. What can we take from yours? Or let's not say yours, but from the U.S. That we can bring on board?
Well, the biggest thing is to ensure that the elections are fair. Last time there was quite a bit of mishaps. On that budget. So free and fair election, very, very good. That's them. And if I may add more things, as far as what this present situation is doing, honestly, I'm very, very happy. I see the administration doing things like in Nigeria. This is very, very, very important because, like I say, pretty begins. Back in the days, we used to be very, very happy to get our own. Now, the president is sending this signal for people to think made in Nigeria. We have companies like Innocent, when you go to the Southeast, they are building very good quality cars. And I see that he has also done some things as far as reducing and or removing some of duties importation. This will also increase trade. It will get more money in pockets. I see the central bank recently increased interest 7.5%. That will also help people to see. So a lot of things are going positive. And I know that Mr. President is a fearless man. I will encourage him to continue to be fearless, not to cave into people's pressure. And more importantly, let him make sure that the next elections or the elections that are coming to push some of his influences to make sure that elections are free. This is one of the good things about America here, where
all right, Dr. Naimeka Omera, from of the President of the Public Policy Advocacy Research Council, is based in Atlanta, Georgia, but he is a son of the soil here in Nigeria. We wish you the very best. Hopefully, you will reconnect with us, in the nearest future, especially as we look down at almost getting down to 1 year of the current administration, and pick your brains as usual. After all, you are still in Nigeria, and even if you are making waves over there, so we wish you the very best.
Thank you so very much, Messiah.
That has been Political Update for today. We will be back again for another episode next week with, an eye on the states getting ready for elections, and also talking of policy issues as well as issues affecting our democracy. My name is Fisai Ogunfuyi. Thanking you for staying tuned and urging you to play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest and finest, for news, reviews, previews and interviews. Bye-bye now.